Sustainability has become more than just a buzzword. It's a fundamental responsibility. Our industry is facing the challenge of adapting to greener practices while maintaining operations. That's because it involves things like materials, you've got energy, you've got labour and transport, and they all result in unavoidable carbon emissions. But the fact is there's numerous strategies that you can use to build into your printing operations that will really tip the balance towards a greener future. And building sustainability into your large format printing business is got to be worth every effort. And of course, not just the improvements that you get in your brand reputation, you also get your massive reduction in waste disposal costs, you get way better operational efficiency, you attract new customers, and obviously all of that is going to entirely boost your bottom line, so it's got to be worth it. But of course, I also understand that it can seem like the impact of one printing business doing all these things is minuscule when you look at the grand global issues that are faced at the minute. But you've got to realise that every positive change, no matter how small, will contribute to a more sustainable future. And of course, as the saying goes, big things come from small beginnings.
As material suppliers, we're acutely aware of the plastic pollution problem. PVC materials do represent a challenge because of their limited recyclability, and even when they are disposed of, PVC vinyl often ends up in landfills or incinerators, and that's just pushing the problem down the road. So the obvious solution, and the popular solution, is to transition to PVC-free alternatives, like our entire Envirotech range. Now these alternatives are designed to be more environmentally friendly. They're all made from materials that are much more recyclable, and because recycling generally is still a challenge, we've gone one step further and developed the biodegradable material as an interim solution. It's worth remembering that along with the environment, your business reputation is at stake here. So adopting eco-friendly materials, that's going to help you win new business. It's something I'll be talking about in the next episode. It's also worth mentioning, now that end customers are increasingly valuing sustainability in their purchasing decisions, this shift can really position your business as a leader in responsible practices. But what I'd say is, don't let your customers drive you to make the change. You drive the change. Because by choosing eco-friendly materials, your customers will change with you.
Sustainability isn't just something that's a necessity, it's also a smart business move. The fact is, businesses are increasingly choosing suppliers based on their green initiatives. So by integrating sustainability into your printing business, you're not only attracting environmentally aware clients, but also positioning yourself as a leader in responsible practices. Customers are not only looking for quality or price, they're looking for partners who share their values. By sharing your commitment to sustainability, you're not just winning short-term business, you're building lasting brand reputation. That's not easy to regain if you lose it. Your customers will appreciate your efforts to making a positive impact on the planet. I truly believe it's a win-win scenario for both the print business and the environment.
The print technology landscape has evolved a lot over recent years, and now what you've got is newer and you've got more energy efficient printers that are being released all the time. Even just recently you've got things like the HP Latex 630. And a lot of these machines consume a lot less energy compared to their predecessors. So if you're running a printer that's like over 5 years old, the chances are that making the switch to a newer model could potentially result in energy savings of anywhere up to 15%. And really for any business, that's no small saving. Now, look, I'm not getting any rebate from printer manufacturers here, but seriously, outdated printers not only consume more energy, but they're also more expensive to maintain. So you've got things like repairs and parts and replacements. And they also operate at slower speeds. That ultimately can impact your overall output and turnaround times. Along with that, of course, is the ink consideration. So eco-solvent and latex or resin inks are good options when it comes to eco-friendly inks. Latex inks, for example, are made up of up to, I think it's 70% water, and obviously also use non-toxic chemicals. So that would generally make them probably one of the greenest options out there at the minute. And so what I'd say is that investing in energy efficient printers and clean inks is not only going to benefit the environment, but it also improves your bottom line.
Take it from us, the materials you choose could have the biggest impact in the overall sustainability of your operation. I can't emphasise how important it is to make informed decisions that prioritise eco-friendly options and minimise environmental impact. Be careful not to be taken in by greenwash. It's best to use a comparison tool like our Eco Impact Score to get a fair comparison of materials. When it comes to the types of materials, we recommend looking for PP, PET, PE and polyester as eco-friendly alternatives to PVC vinyl. These materials, especially PP, are easily recyclable and something that's being promoted more and more in the Envirotech range. You should also think about the source of your materials. Opt for options that involve simpler transport and logistics, minimising carbon emissions associated with transport. Take the time to research partner suppliers like us who prioritise sustainability, but I'd just like to take this opportunity to put a word in for Envirotech. We've been supplying this range for over 7 years now, the first in the industry, and we've subsequently had industry firsts such as biodegradable and rPET products. I'd definitely recommend having a look at the options because you'll find it's not as hard to make the switch as you may think.
Now, we know large format printing generates a substantial amount of waste. You've got ink cartridges, offcuts, misprints, packaging waste, but there are a few areas that can be looked at to reduce all of that. Firstly, you've got estimating tools like the one that's on Innotech's website. That's going to help you accurately determine the amount of media you're going to need for the job and also best placement to get the least amount of waste. Of course, that's going to avoid overuse, reduce unnecessary waste, and is a big cost saving as well. Otherwise, you could look at reusing misprints. So if a job hasn't gone quite to plan or there's some left over on the end of a roll, that could be used for test printing. Now, that's not an easy one, but is worth trying. And you can encourage customers to choose larger sizes for their prints, depending on the size of roll you're using, of course. Likewise, could minimize print margins, so you're optimizing all the material you've got, and that's going to reduce the amount needed for the whole project as well. Dependent on your printer, you could think about using refillable ink cartridges. Now, the fact is, single-use cartridges contribute a lot to plastic waste and are a challenge to recycle as well. So some ink manufacturers do now offer a recycling service for used cartridges. So that is definitely worth finding out if that's something your ink supplier can offer for you. Otherwise, make sure you've got dedicated waste bins for specific materials like cardboard, plastics, inks, etc. Make sure you get regular collections. And if you've got the volumes, it's definitely worth exploring on-site processing like baling or compacting. But as with many of the changes we've been talking about, this isn't just going to have a positive impact on the environment. Now, that's the most important. It's also good business practice, and it's definitely going to improve the bottom line.
Embracing sustainability in your operation extends beyond the confines of your workspace. It reaches into the way you deliver and transport your finished products as well as vehicles used by staff. So when it comes to your fleet, electric vehicles or hybrids are the best option. These vehicles produce next to no emissions, reducing air pollution and lowering your overall carbon footprint. Of course, you've got to make a decision that suits your business situation and investment capacity, but transitioning to electric vans and cars demonstrates a huge commitment to responsible business practices. In the meantime, though, you can always monitor the payload of your vehicles, only carry what's necessary for deliveries, optimising your trips and reducing fuel consumption. You can also promote efficient driving behaviours amongst your staff to further enhance the eco-friendliness of your fleet. Again, those kind of practices aren't just better for the environment, they're also having a direct impact on your bottom line.
So we've spent a lot of time talking about what printers can do to reduce your carbon footprint. But if you really want to see what impact you're making, you're going to have to measure it. And so by quantifying your emissions, you're going to start getting really valuable insights into where you can make meaningful changes. There's actually some really great tools out there that make calculating your carbon emissions seriously easy. One of them that I've used before, I definitely recommend it, is one called Business Carbon Calculator by a company called Normative. So if you just Google Business Carbon Calculator, you'll it'll come up in the results. But the fact is, whatever measurement system or tool you use, you can make a start by identifying the sources of the emissions within your operations. So firstly, this will include things like direct emissions, which is things like emissions from your facilities, your vehicles, and then you've also got indirect emissions, which is like the emissions from your suppliers and customers. And then of course you're also going to need to look at other factors like your energy consumption, your transport, and then also your waste generation. But ultimately every effort to reduce your emissions is going to count. And so by calculating and actively working to reduce your carbon footprint, what you'll find yourself doing is making more changes faster than ever.
Your choice of suppliers can significantly impact the overall sustainability of your business, and not something you can ignore. Evaluating and partnering with eco-conscious manufacturers and suppliers is a crucial step towards building a more environmentally responsible operation. By selecting suppliers who prioritise sustainability, you're actively contributing to a greener printing industry. Published environmental policies and progress reports offer transparency into a supplier's sustainability efforts. These documents can reveal the extent to which a company prioritises eco-friendly practices and their progress towards environmental goals. Here at Innotech, we're going through a number of initiatives to reduce our impacts from changing all of our lighting to LEDs, ensuring all of our energy comes from renewable sources, providing our teams with reusable drinkware, as well as constantly developing more sustainable products, recycling schemes, and reducing our packaging. Alongside this, educating our customers and providing tools to support in making informed buying decisions, like our Eco Impact Score, we're all helping contribute to a greener print sector.
Embarking on a journey towards sustainable printing doesn't require an overnight transformation or knee-jerk decision. It's got to work for your business. And the fact is, a gradual transition is going to allow you to implement changes thoughtfully and effectively. Start with small changes, like what you do with your waste and how much waste you generate. Then look at the materials you use. What can you do to switch over to an eco-friendly alternative? Next, you could look at your energy consumption. Are your energy suppliers generating energy from renewable sources? Then you can make the big decisions, like upgrading to more energy efficient printers, installing solar panels, or changing to electric vehicles. But just remember that every step you take is one step closer to a greener future.
Sharing your sustainability progress is an essential part of inspiring positive change in the printing industry. By talking about the concrete impact of your sustainable practices, you're demonstrating your commitment and encouraging others to follow suit at the same time. Make sure you emphasise the benefits of your sustainable choices both for the environment and for your business. The fact is, your efforts are not only commendable, they're also setting the standard for others to follow. So by sharing your progress, you can influence a positive shift towards a more responsible and eco-conscious print industry.
You've really got to stay ahead with sustainability. But when I say staying ahead, it means more than just keeping up with trends. It really means leading the way. So customers today, or consumers, are increasingly drawn to businesses that prioritise sustainability. And by leading the way in those eco-conscious practices that you've implemented, you're going to start attracting a growing audience of environmentally conscious consumers. And that's got to be worth it, isn't it? So if there's one thing that I want you to take away from all these videos that you've watched, is you've got to make a start. And then once you've made a start, it's like a domino effect. You're going to start finding these positive changes happening all around you.